Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a teacher appreciation rock and you're going to love it. So I'm using a little marker and I'm leaving a little dot where I think the center is, and I'm using this little compass with a pencil to draw two circles, one a little bit bigger than the other one. You guys have seen me do this before. I'm just making a frame. I like having my artwork framed on a rock. So this isn't a perfectly circular rock, but when you do a circular frame, it does make the rock way more circular looking. So you guys might always think I'm working with a perfectly shaped rock. I'm not. It just looks like they're perfect because you make a circle on them. You make a perfect circle using a compass. So it just changes the illusion and makes it look like you have a perfect stone. But yeah, you can do this on a square stone if you wanted to. Still do a circle and it's still going to look amazing. So I have drawn two circles with pencil. You can't see them, but you'll be able to see it a lot better once I put them. I cover those lines in gold. You know this. You know the routine. Now you can see my little purple dot in the center. That's from my marker. I want to keep that dot visible. I will show you why in a little bit. So I'm just kind of painting around the dot so that I still know where the center of my circle is, and then I'll be able to work with that. So it is going to be all black, and then I'm going to let it dry like I have here. It's almost dry. And now I'm going to get those lines visible for you so you know what I'm talking about there. I'm using spun gold, and I'm using a piece of paper with my rock on top of it. It spins much easier for doing this kind of thing. And you can see I'm just wiping mistakes away with my finger and then starting over because you're not going to notice these mistakes anyway. We're going to be working with this so much. Yeah, I just wipe them off. Start over. I do usually go over these lines here a couple of times to clean them up throughout because we do a lot of stuff. But this is just the first one so that you guys can see better than the pencil, because you can barely see the pencil in the video here. So yeah, this is my framed in little piece of artwork. I've done it many times. It's just one of the things that I do. If you guys don't like the frame, it's totally up to you, but you might really think it's cute by the end of this video. So let me know in the not in the description, guys. You guys have a hard time even finding that. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you're going to be making one for your teacher, for your teacher's helpers, for yourself. If you've been teaching, make one for you. You're a teacher now. So I'm going to prime my nice little frame or my ring. It's going to be primed with white acrylic paint, just plain old white paint. It dries matte, so it's not like a satiny white. It's just white, plain, matte acrylic paint. And I'm going to let that dry because we're going to be using yellow. And if I don't prime it first, then the yellow is going to end up looking kind of dull and gray, especially with a dark rock like the one I'm using. This rock goes almost black once it's sealed. So I have to make sure I prime areas that are going to be bold and bright, full of color. If you watched my last video with the rainbow petals on the flower, I did prime those petals as well because of the same reason. So it's just safer to start off with a nice white canvas if you want your colors to be super bright. So even if you're painting on a box right now, unless it's a white box, I suggest priming behind your yellow on this one anyway. So I've made a bit of thick mistakes with my gold, so I'm just going to go in and make sure that those are cleaned up a bit with black paint, and then I'll let that black paint dry before we move on to the next step. But I do a lot of this. I do a lot of like cleanup throughout, and you'll see that it's usually just with black or with gold, just getting everything the way I want it to be. And sometimes it gets a little boring, especially for you guys watching. So I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is healthy. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being so patient. This was, this was one of the ones that I lost and could not retrieve. So this is a redo of the whole thing. And I really hope you guys like this one. Let me know what you think in the comments for sure. So I'm using saffron yellow. You might have seen that I'm listing the names of the paint for you. And that is just so that you can jot them down while you're watching the video. You don't have to go searching for the description. These are all the paint colors that I'm using. Saffron yellow is getting 2 coats once the first coat is dry. And then I'm letting those dry for a little while so that I can work on the center. Now I'm using Dragonfly Glaze 44380. It's a beautiful, tiny, tiny glitter. It's holographic. So you flip it and turn it. Once it's dry, it just looks like a rainbow. It's just so beautiful and it really catches your eye. And it's such a fine glitter as well. But as you can see, I'm doing a very thin coat, making sure it's even everywhere. You don't want to leave any thick parts where it looks almost white. Make sure you spread it out really evenly because if you leave it too thick in spots, it's really noticeable once it's dry. Just a little tip. So as you can see, it's all covered. And I'm going to let that dry before I work on that anymore as well. It doesn't take long, but you can barely see the holographic glitter, but it's there, I promise. So the reason I kept that center dot was so that I could draw a line over it with a ruler. And now we're going to cover that center dot up because we don't need it anymore. So here's where we're drawing an apple. A cute little apple. Kind of looks like a heart at the top. It's not perfect. I'm going to do 2 little leaves and a stem. And then there's also going to be a cute little bookworm poking out. So I'm just going to do all the gold for you. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to kind of read over what I Googled about apples and teachers. And why is an apple so commonly seen, probably not now as much, but back in the day, you'd see like teachers bringing an apple and putting it on their teacher's desk. And for a long time, an apple symbol was related to teachers and schools. So I wanted to look it up and find out a little bit more. So I'm going to share that with you. I've simply Googled it. According to Gourmet in the 1700s, poor families in Denmark and Sweden gave teachers baskets of apples as payment for their children's education. And if your school allows it, giving a teacher an apple is still a kind way to show your teacher appreciation. Also, an apple symbol is complex with a variety of meanings and incorporated in a variety of contexts. It can mean love, knowledge, wisdom, joy, death, and or luxury. And of course, the apple of the Garden of Eden is a symbol of temptation and of the original sin. So I did just Google this stuff up. If you want to look into it more, or if you know of a different meaning behind it, please leave it in the comments. I love to learn little bits of information about everything. So if you know more, let me know. But I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought that was a nice way to put this in the rock for a teacher and say thank you for what they do. And if you've been homeschooling, well, you deserve one as well. I did make a bunch up last year for my teachers and all the teachers' helpers and other people and the secretary and the principal. And oh my goodness, there was a lot of these made last year. This is a Martha Stewart sponge dauber. So if you're wondering what that is, I get a lot of questions about that. It's just a little sponge on a stick, a little plastic stick, or you can find them on wooden sticks as well. And they're awesome for blending and for getting good coverage. So you can see I'm doing 2 coats of Fire Engine Red on my apple. I did the first coat with a brush. And you could still see through it really bad, but I let it dry a little bit and then I went in with a sponge and you can still see through it, but I'm going to be covering my apple up with glitter. If you are not covering up with glitter, make sure you prime your apple white first before you start with the engine red. That way your apple's nice and bright, and do a couple of coats of red over top. But because I'm using glitter, I'm using red as my base coat instead of white, and then you won't even notice. You won't even notice the black background coming through. So I've drawn a little bookworm. I know it's an apple worm, but I'm calling him a bookworm. Okay? He's going to be super cute, and he's going to be wearing cute little glasses as well. I'm using a light lime green for the little worm, and I'm using bright green for the stem. And then I'm going to use a mixture, a combo of both greens in the leaves. And I'm dotting the leaves. You don't have to dot them if you don't want to, but that's just what I like to do. So I'm doing a little gold vein down the center, and then I'm using a toothpick to do the dotting. The darker green color, which is actually called bright green. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's the darker of the two. And then I'm using the lime green down the center of the leaf. So you'll see me do that. I'm not worrying about the sizes of the dots. They can be all different sizes. They can be joined together too if you want. It's up to you. It'll still look really pretty when we're done. And I really think the teachers will love them. So the glitter is actually a gel nail polish. You guys might have seen me use it in other tutorials because I've definitely brought out the gel polish before. And I use a UV light to cure it. So I just had this stuff at home because I love doing my nails. I wasn't trained to do that either. I just do it myself. But that's what I used to paint before I started painting rocks, is I just spent a lot of time on my fingernails. So I had a lot of nail polish and stuff, and why not incorporate nail polish and makeup and stuff, glitter and crystals and all sorts of stuff. Why not incorporate that into your rock art? There's no rules. Here, there's no rules, people. Just so you know. Some places won't let you post pictures of your rocks if you're using like different multimedia, mixed media. It has to be just paint, or some people think you're cheating if you use like crystals or anything else, vinyl, anything. Some people think it's not rock painting if you're adding all that stuff. But to me, there is no rule. You can use whatever you want to make your rock beautiful. And that's what you see when you come to this channel. So if you can stick it on your rock and make it look beautiful, why not? Why not? Just be careful if you're putting your rocks outside. Do not put stuff on your rocks that birds or animals can pick off and eat, because it's very, very bad for them. But for indoor rocks, put as much stuff as you want on them. That's all I have to say. So I have outlined everything in gold. I have outlined everything in black as well, but make sure you don't hide any of your gold with the black. And now I'm doing like a little fake shine. Make our apple look shiny. It's just a little chunk of white there. And then I'm going to outline that white as well with gold. And now we are going to work on the notches. One at the bottom, one at the top. I'm using black paint, side. Now go in between those. In between. I promise you the paper helps the rock move a lot better. Now, just like a ruler. What do you think of that? So not only is the ring like a school bus color almost. Oh, my worm has a face. Getting creative with my editing. But yeah, not only is it a yellow school bus color, but it also resembles a ruler. So how appropriate. The teachers loved them when I made them last year. So I hope that these are a hit for you and for your teachers as well. A fun thing for your kids to give them. It's an awesome paperweight for a school desk, let me tell you. So yes, again with the gold, there is a lot of gold. I just keep outlining it, making that nice thick layer. But my notches went over, so I have to fix that, right? So if you have to go back over it again, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind. I don't find it being boring when I'm using gold. So I just outline it as many times as I can until I'm happy. So I'm looking for more ideas for tutorials. If you guys are looking for some, please leave your suggestions in the comments. I don't promise that I'm going to get to all of them, but I am writing them in a list and working through them very slowly. Some are harder than others, like animal portraits. Like I can't just whip up a golden Labrador for you. That takes me days to even paint one. And to teach you how to do it is a whole different story. So different things would take me a lot longer. So here's the gel polish. I had it kicking around and I thought I'd use it on this rock here. I love glitter. You guys know that. And it's like ruby slippers. This stuff is amazing. I will list it all in the description. I get it on Amazon. And it's, you know, it lasts a really long time. So it's not something that you have to go out and buy. You can just use regular glitter paint as well. You can also use like a clear glue, paint your apple red, let it dry, then use a clear glue or triple thick and paint it on the apple, and then use like a raw glitter, like sprinkle on red glitter and then let it dry and then brush it all off. It is a more challenging and messy than nail polish glitter. Like this is really quite easy, and I'm using a disposable eyeliner brush to move it around and get it in all the little nooks and crannies as well to make sure everything red is covered in glitter. So it's super easy and it dries underneath the lamp. But like I said, if you don't have this available, or if you don't want your apple to be glittery, you've had enough of glitter, just do extra coats of red so that you cannot see through to the black background. So I do 2 coats of this. I let it dry for a minute and a half, sometimes 2 minutes, just to be safe. It's not going to hurt anything. It doesn't hurt the paint or the rock. So I just cure it for a couple minutes and then do a second coat. And then when I seal it with resin, it just looks amazing. And you will see that at the end of the video. And if I love it and I share it with you, it's because I trust that you're going to love it as well. Already it looks beautiful. So here's the light. It's a UV lamp or LED, both, I guess. And I bought it from Amazon. And now I'm doing my second coat. So I go in with the actual nail polish brush to do the bigger areas because it doesn't take as long. And then I go in with my little disposable eyeliner brush again, just to get all the nooks and crannies, make sure everything's covered nicely and even. And it's so beautiful. I love working with this stuff. It's just amazing. It makes my work, just makes me happier when I look at my stones when they have this stuff on it. If you've ever used it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Any kind of glittery paint will work. If you can find some red glitter paint, it'll work amazingly. But you still might need to put 2 or 3 coats of red underneath, regular red paint. The disposable eyeliner brush, like you saw there, I get those on Amazon as well. A big bag. I think there's like 200 or maybe even more. So I'm letting it dry again for the second time. I'm just going to let it dry for a couple minutes. And now we got to give our little bookworm some eyeballs. So I'm going to start with these, let it dry really, really well. So you can see it's dried really, really well. And now we're doing a white dot that's just a little bit smaller because you want to see the outside black ring because that's his glasses. So we've got white dots there. Now you let the white dry a little bit. And I'm going to do 2 dots there. That's a little small. I think I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. There we go. And now he needs little arms on his glasses and he needs a smile. Definitely needs a smile. He's happy. He's saying thank you. I hope your teachers aren't afraid of bookworms. He's a cute one. Give him a kiss. So here it is, resin. This is just a little snippet because it's still wet, but I'm going to show it to you once it's dried. You can see it a little bit better. What do you guys think of that? Is that not adorable? It's so cute. I'm sorry, you can see a little bit of my last tutorial in this one as well. But I'll show you it better now, all by itself, all dry, all beautifully sparkly and glittery. Look at that red glitter paint. And he is so cute peeking out there. This is adorable, you guys. You can do your own thing with it. Or you could do it the way I did it. It's a lot of fun, and I really think your kids would love to bring that into their teacher or send it to them as well. Leave it on their front doorstep. I'm going to put it on a little sponge here, and so you can see it. No, sponge is too big. I need a new sponge. Smaller one. There we go. Just want to lay this down here so there's not so much of a glare from my ring light. I got to lean it up against something for you. Well, I love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking by. Thank you for waiting patiently for my next tutorial. And I will see you very soon. Don't forget to leave your suggestions in the comments. Bye, guys. Keep painting.